One last question. Suppose, Lord Russell, this film were to be looked at by our descendants, like a Dead Sea Scroll in 1,000 years' time. What would you think it's worth telling that generation about the life you've lived and the lessons you've learned from it?
Studying any matter or considering any philosophy, ask yourself only what are the facts and what is the truth that the facts bear out. Never let yourself be diverted either by what you wish to believe or by what you think would have beneficent social effects if it were believed. But look only and solely at what are the facts.
Hello, good morning, good evening, good day, good afternoon, and aloha for the last time. Welcome back to the last episode of the Unidentified Celebrity Review. Not a lot of people knew about this. It's been a very, very interesting week. It's going to be just me today. God, where do I begin? This is, a lot of people have been, I'm sure, questioning, like, what's going on with Leo? What's going on with Leo? Why does he seem so upset? What's happening? I'm not the first one who has turned on a dime like this. And we're going to talk about it. I don't know how many different ways I can tell the audience and people that I was blackmailed, third party, by someone very close to Lou Elizondo. I'm going to show you the messages of this very mysterious person. I'm going to give you my thoughts on who I might think it is. Before we start, the disclosure clock, it's all the way back to 0. I've completely reset this thing. That's what I think of the disclosure clock right now. It's been a week from hell. And if you want to make fun of me for sounding like a victim, that's fine. But the reason why I sound like a victim is because I feel like a victim. I'm pissed. I'm so angry, as you probably saw last week. And as you've probably seen in my tweets. Before we get started with all of this, I want to say thank you to all the new Patreons that I've had. I'm sorry I didn't get to put your name on the list. And we'll get into Patreons and what's happening with this channel. This is not the complete end, but there is going to be a major shift in how we report on this or how we talk about this. There will never be another show like UCR. Like, we're not doing any more live shows. I'm no longer going to put my face to this channel because I think the scariest thing that's happened that I learned about, I'll get to in a second. Let me say thank you to all the new Patreons. Jason Ladd, thank you. Haley Fitzgerald McQueen, thank you. John Grenwell, thank you. Zach Vajda, thank you. Tommy McAllister, thank you. George, with an $86.44 a month with signing up for This Is a Legitimate Bill tier. Thank you so much. John Nelson, thank you for the $20 donation per month. Joshua Wilkerson, same to you. Thank you guys. I was not expecting that at all. Of course, I've lost about 150 subscribers from the channel. I've lost some Patreons. I keep telling you guys, like, this shit's not about the money for me. I've never been in this for the money. The money as a side effect, great. Why wouldn't I want to make money? I work my ass off on this channel. I've stretched my personal life to produce as many shows as we've done, which is either this is 395 or 396. We almost made it to 400. If you guys really sat here in this chair and understood how much work, and for the first time, I'm going to take credit. I always share the credit. And there's a lot of credit to go around. There really, really is. But when I tell you, for the Big Phone Home one, when there were people who said they were there to help me and didn't, Skyfort, Lou Elizondo, you guys did not help me to promote that event at all. That event, there should have been 100,000 people there, 200,000 people there. And there would have been if one of you guys helped with any aspect on the social media, sharing the website, talking about the event constantly, because that's what it takes to build a grassroots movement. I never got that from any of you, but I never questioned that in real time. You're busy, right? You've got things to do. You're working behind the scenes. There's so many things I've done to make this channel work and be fun, take the topic seriously, but try not to take ourselves too seriously. And this channel has gotten to a point where I can't separate the story or what's going on from me. Every time people tune into this show, it's going to be, what did the backstabber and traitor do? And that's the thing that scared me when I started seeing that language, when our mods told me that we had bots in the channel calling me a traitor. I didn't write or make a list of felons. And if I, again, for the billionth time, if I misread it, then the text is even worse. It's worse. That means that there's 5 felons and 5 other people who are mentally disabled and haters and naysayers and scum. And John Greenwald would happen to be one of those people. I can't explain the context of those texts. And I would have died on those texts until I found out Richard Butt and Rob Heatherly clearly had seen them. I'll be making a film on the exact timeline of what exactly happened with the text, with the sock puppets, with all of that stuff, because it seems like I can't explain it, or I'm either not explaining it well enough, or you're so entrenched in your belief system that you're willing to just look past all of the red flags that are clearly going up. And this is not, I cannot express to you enough. I didn't come to this rage in just 1 week or one event. This has been a buildup of nothing but red flags that I've ignored because I was afraid to lose subs. I was afraid to lose access. And in some parts, I was afraid to lose Patreon members. I'd love to do this every day. And I didn't want to risk that. So we sat on a question for a year because we were afraid to ask it. We asked the question, and all proverbial hell breaks loose essentially after that. But there are things before that. I looked, let's go ahead, since we're on the subject of Mr. Richard Butt. Let's go ahead and look at the messages he sent me, or she, because I think it's a she. And I'll get to why at the end of this. Give me a moment as I pull it up. So these are the messages of one Richard Butt. Relentlessly seeking the answers to the 5 W's of UAP. I'm not even sure what that means. Dragging this enigma into the sunlight. American flag and an anchor. Feels like a patriot to me. Feels like someone in the system. But you guys be the judge. Let's go through the messages, shall we? So on October 26th of last year, this is really when my channel, and this is kind of when the attack started on UCR. And it all had to do with an exchange of Jeremy McGowan and Frank Milburn and Alex Dietrich. And we didn't want to get involved because from our perspective, it seemed like, hey, these are all adults. Let them work it out. And Alex Dietrich doesn't need 3 men coming to her rescue. She can take care of herself. She's a grown woman, and she did. She put everyone in their place. She doesn't need UCR, which at the time had, I think, 4,000 subscribers at most. So we get in a spat about this, and this is when the attacks start coming in at me. So I give him I give her a StreamYard link, and I said, join me. Let's talk like men, thinking that this was a man, face to face. This person keeps repeating this lie that they talked to me. They never spoke to me once. And these messages prove that. You can tell this is an anonymous account, and there is a very good reason for that. I'm happy to talk to you through a non-personally identifiable media. So right off the bat, they don't want to see face-to-face. Man-to-man is outdated, by the way. It's 2021, winky face. That's clue number 1. It's not a man. You don't have to turn on your camera, I told them. I tried to, but it was requiring a mic and cam access, at least on mobile. They tried to connect. And as soon as they got my response to this was like, yeah, that's how you talk. You have to give access to the microphone. To which they replied, okay, hold on. I'll join in a minute. Great, I wrote. And then 7 minutes later, I wrote, you disconnected. We never spoke. We never spoke, and they just kind of ignored it until we started talking again on November 24th, 2021. Howdy, Lou. Just a quick heads up on a bug I noticed on your website. Once on the contact page, if you click any of the header links, it fails to send you to the correct page. This is due to the menu on the contact page using relative links from the home page instead of the absolute link. They're referring to the Big Phone Home website. So there was a problem with the links, to which I wrote, that is a great question. I have no idea because I didn't build the website. And that's exactly what I wrote. But that is something I can ask him. And when I mean him, I mean Ben, our web developer, next week after the holiday, because it was Thanksgiving. Okay, no worries. Just let your dev know to check the menu on the contact page. He should be able to figure it out from there. Smiley face. Thank you. Thank you for the heads up. So pretty nice. Next contact is May 5th. So December, January, February, March, April, May. 6 months later. I get this. The only felons are 5x5 and Manny. Surely Lou did not say Stephen Greenstreet was a felon. ... And I wrote, no. This is just giving people more ammo to pile on to. Man, I don't know how you deal with this day in and day out. You have a lot of patience. This is right when Stephen Greenstreet was asking me about it on a live show. And now everybody knew there was a list. So this is the message I got. You're giving people more ammo to pile on to Lou. And I didn't release the text. Like I said, I was going to sit on it no matter how angry people wanted to see this list. I wasn't going to give it to anybody because I knew I was the only one that had it. I'm not going to get into this again, I promise myself. But then they rate me this message basically saying that I've got a lot of patience, you know. I think in that regard that I haven't released this thing. And then I wrote to them, I wasn't sure where the rumor came from, so I wanted to compare notes off air and assured Stephen I wasn't the source. I was asking to silence irrational trolls. So again, like I'm giving them the reason why, like I had no idea Stephen was going to rebuttal me with that. It was an awkward moment. And so I did my best to try and quell the rumor. Best thing to do is to make sure Lou doesn't get heat, is to drop it. Don't feed the rumor mill. In other words, don't talk about it and it should go away. And that's what I was going to do on that text. I was going to sit on it because I knew Stephen Greenstreet didn't have the list. Nobody did. Only me. But yeah, it's a tough walking a fine line between all these people that you like and respect. I can only imagine. Wouldn't want to be in your shoes. You'll never please everybody, as you well know. LOL. Thumbs up for me. Exactly. And then this is when things start getting interesting. This is when the quotes from the messages started getting leaked by Richard Butt and by Rob Heatherly. This is so stupid, but I got to explain it. Lou, respectfully, why are you allowing Greenstreet to continue the spread and false narrative that Lou called him a felon and warned many other people that he was? Are you not going to do the ethical thing and correct the record? I've respected your decision to thread both sides line, but now you're allowing for a direct character assassination of a person you have voiced your respect for. Speaking about Lou. I can't stand idly by and allow that to happen. It is one of my biggest pet peeves. I hope you will correct the record before I make a long and detailed post outlining exactly how this all happened and directly questioning your motives for not correcting the record. This person is demanding me to correct the record. The only other person that demanded me like this to correct the record was Lou Elizondo on a phone call when he called at me yelling. to call Stephen Greenstreet or Stephen Greenwald or John Greenwald, sorry, to call John Reed Greenwald and say that he didn't mean in that text he was calling John a felon, that he wanted me to call John and tell him that I messed up, that I misunderstood the text. John didn't pick up the phone. It went straight to voicemail. When John finally saw the text that Lou Elizondo sent me, he called me back and was like, yeah, no, I think you got it right. I think that's about right. And if it's not, if you're wrong, which, okay, I'm wrong, it's worse. I cannot express to you enough. It's worse that I got it wrong. It's 10 people instead of 5. John Greenwald took it the same way I did. And the text that I sent to verify that that's what he was talking about was just passed by, was not acknowledged, which to me was like, yep, that's who I meant. That's who I meant. They write, I've spoken with you and Rather via DM, and you're both aware of how this happened, that Lou did not make such accusations, but neither of you are correcting the record. Please let me know what your intent is. I'm giving you the option of correcting the direction here before I make a post outlining what happened. So they're threatening me. Soft threat, it gets worse. That's a first soft threat. Give me the apology, or I'm going to make a post explaining what happened. I wrote back to them for legal reasons. And again, the picture wasn't public yet. For legal reasons, I can't get into the specifics. I will address parts of it on Thursday. I will say for someone like myself who has worked, fought, loves, and respects Lou, it doesn't look good. Speaking of the text, like this list, it just doesn't look good. This doesn't feel like something he would do. He does. And he does it through sock puppets. And he does it in little messages like this to people that have access to him. He leaves it on voicemails. It's pretty sloppy. And all of this eventually is going to come out, and someone's going to put it in a really beautiful timeline. And there's going to be a lot of people that feel really dumb, like me. I feel like an idiot right now. But let us continue. It's very disappointing and sounds like an unfortunate situation. I'm not sure what part of clearing this up which puts you at legal risk, and I hope nothing that happens to you is someone, or specifically Stephen Greenstreet, threatening you. Nobody was threatening me. I just didn't want to release a picture of a private message on Twitter. And I wasn't going to do it until I knew that Mr. Butt here, or Mrs. Butt, and Rob Heatherly started leaking on Twitter exact wording and where commas were perfectly. They had the text. So clearly, Lou had shared it with somebody else. And I hadn't yet. So once I knew they had it, I pressured them to release it, because now it's on you. Now it's on you to release it, since you clearly have it. And that's what I told them in public, and you'll see here in private. It is disappointing. I can't and won't share private messages from people not named Stephen Greenstreet. No threats from Stephen Greenstreet. He's the loudest one, but he's not my concern. And by the way, I've apologized privately to Stephen Greenstreet if I've ever come across as a jerk, unintentionally. I can understand why Stephen Greenstreet's pissed off now. I can understand why he went from the most beloved UFO show to ever exist to now the most wanted criminal in hashtag UFO Twitter community. This community is a cesspool of cannibals. You eat every single scientist, journalist, content creator, blogger that doesn't agree and toe the line. They get slapped with the label of naysayer, doubter, hater, backstabber, and now traitor. Think about that. You know exactly, this is where it gets cute. And sorry, Bill, after last week, I'm going to drop on one more F-bomb here. It's the last show. What the fuck? I'm not even wearing a tie today. Like, this is just me. You know exactly what the fuck a comma is, man. Quit with the lying. I still like you, Lou, but I'm really unhappy with you. To which I wrote, I don't know who you are. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't want to share a private message from Lou in a public way like that. So now the message is out. And now they're pissed that I don't know what a comma is. Fine. I don't know what a comma is. Then name the 10 people you're fucking talking about. That's who you guys out there should be angry about. Name the 10 people. The donations are through the roof, you guys. Thank you. This show might go longer than 2 hours, and I promise you I'll get to them. I swear to God. I see them. Thank you. This is the response I get to, I have no clue who you are. I've told you who I am, which they didn't, and I showed you that. I'm one of the people behind the scenes doing my goddamn best to move this topic forward. Notice I haven't cursed or been aggressive like this either. You spoke with Lou and Caps Jennifer and told them they would correct the record, that you would correct the record. How the hell does this person know about a phone call that only 4 people on the planet heard? Jennifer Elizondo, Lou Elizondo, me, and my girlfriend too heard the conversation. I'm not going crazy. I was immediately gaslit on that phone call. You got the comma wrong. The comma. No, man, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. First time I've ever heard Lou Elizondo that frantic and upset with me. And immediately I was like, oh my God, I got it wrong. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. This is Lou Elizondo. He's my hero. I got it wrong. And I told him I'll do whatever I can to fix it. I'm sorry. How did I get this wrong? I feel like an idiot. Hang up the phone. And my girlfriend, who's listened to all of this, it's like, he gaslit you. Right there on the phone. And then when John was like, yeah, I took it the same way you did, buddy. And again, keep in mind, my girlfriend saw the text way before anybody else. She also took that text, and she's an executive at a Fortune 100 company. She took it that way too. I got the comma wrong. Okay, fine. There's 10 fucking people there. Let's see my response, shall we? Again, if I took it the wrong way, I'll own that, which I did. But I don't think I did. I don't think I took it the wrong way. If I'm right, it's less worse. I don't know why you'd be arguing for the opposite of this. It doesn't make any sense. But it doesn't matter because this story has been twisted and manipulated so many different ways. People don't know what the truth is. All they hear is traitor, backstabber, naysayer, hater. Backstabber, traitor, naysayer, hater, over and over and over and over and over again. And it's slamming in my bots and it's slamming in my comments. It's pouring gasoline on a community that has the propensity to believe things like Pizzagate. And this is why I'm quitting the show. Everybody, all of you know my name. All of you have seen my IMDb. All of you know I do comedy shows in Los Angeles. The last thing I need is someone like a UAP Mike to show up at one of my shows with, I don't know, a handgun or there to hurt me in some way because I backstabbed the hero or I'm a traitor to the hero. That's some scary shit. This is not fun anymore. This is my warning to you guys. Something's not right. Let us continue. Again, if I took it the wrong way, I'll own that. But I don't think I did. I don't share private messages. I ask questions about these claims, prompted questions from me. I don't wish Lou or his family any harm. As soon as Rob Heatherly revealed he's seen the messages, it was no longer on me to share it. I'll address my misunderstanding this Thursday. I have no idea who you are. I've never seen your face, and I haven't spoke to you outside of this app. P.S. I never talked to Jennifer. She was supposed to call me, which she said she would in an email, and I've got the email, and she never did. Again, they come back. Dude, you know what a comma means, and it's not a colon meaning. It's not a colon meaning a list will be succeeding it. I truly and honestly hope you will tell your audience that you did make a mistake and that Lou never claimed the bullshit that Green Street is spreading like wildfire to try to discredit Lou. They were just super pissed at Green Street because he took this and ran. And that's like, that was it. Like, he was making things worse for me. But I don't blame him. He's angry. I hope you will own that and that you will sincerely apologize to Lou and again, Jennifer. And yes, she was on speaker and heard what you said or heard you say you would fix it. I've talked to you before on StreamYard when we disagreed on McGowan. I know you talked to a lot of people, but I wanted to remind you we had spoken. And I showed you first things in the messages. They disconnected. We never spoke. And I wrote, my girlfriend was listening as well. And I stuck to my word. I called John and I told him that Lou thought I had made a mistake. But the text is out now. John can come to his own conclusions. I don't think the jury is out because you wrote an op-ed on Twitter and demanded it. If the majority of people think I fucked up, I'll correct it. I don't think the majority of people think I fucked up. And if you believe that, if you believe I messed that up, then there's 10 people. 10. That is the most frustrating part about all of this. So I don't want to spend too much more time on this because this person calls me back and asks me how I'm doing. I know we haven't agreed on things lately, but I still do like you as a person. So I wanted to check in, blah, 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 blah. Like, this person clearly doesn't care about me. They just don't. And if I had to take a guess, this is Jennifer Elizondo. Nobody else would know those messages like she would, or things that were said in that conversation. Can't prove that. But I know she is viciously defensive of her husband. She does not take kindly to when she thinks people are attacking her husband. And I understand that. I get it. But this is your husband's mess, not mine. He made this problem, not me. He got mad at me for a clip Stephen Greenstreet made and was taken out of context. That clip didn't have all of the love and adoration that prefaced the why Rather was upset. His mother was compared to a hooker in analogy to defend sock puppet accounts that attacked researchers, journalists, and people trying to do good work in the field that would add clarity. So that's why I feel blackmailed. You don't release this text, we're going to release it. Go for it. Go for it. I want it out. I wanted it out. And I wasn't going to be blackmailed by anybody. Because I'm all I've tried to do is be transparent with you guys. With everything I do. Every single aspect of this show is more transparent than anyone else is out there. I'm going to be taking about a 3-month break from this show. Not this show, from all of it. And if I, in 3 or 4 months, have the fire to continue what I really want to do with this show now, which I got to tell you, if you guys think the clips I've been making the last 3 or 4 days are harsh, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of bullshit being said, and I'm going to comb through every second of it and aggregate a lot of it. And I'm going to make a little film. Or a few films. I'm already working on one. And I'm excited. So if you've recently signed up as a member or a Patreon member and you want to leave, totally understandable. I support you 100%. But we're going to be taking a break maybe till the new year. If you want to support some of the things that you're seeing and that are going to be coming on this channel, then stick with me. But no pressure either way. If you don't like the way this channel's going, unsubscribe. I told you at the beginning of the last episode, this show is not my life. And I don't owe anybody anything. Around that time, when Richard Butt first reached out and that phone call disconnected, was the exact same time the person who started that whole come defend Alex Dietrich BS was Sean Rash. And that's when he really started, him and Joe Murgia. Pile on over and over, him and Joe Murgia and Chris Wolford and UAP Mike. I got to tell you something, guys, about Chris Wolford. He's a big reason why Michael Mataluni left our show. He's left voicemails on other shows like Machines or whatever, yelling about people that they have on their show. And if you wanted access to certain people, you better get rid of those people on your show. He's the loudest mouth, and he's done the least for anything on this topic. And he's threatened our mod, Aaron Desario, and he erased it. He hinted at, seeing me in the streets, kind of thing. Then blocked it before I got a picture of it. I was asking the people who had voicemails what he doxed Bree from the Tadiwaba from that one time I was abducted, and those girls, and made their life a living hell. Those are the people that legitimately scare me. And I was organizing a show strictly around that topic, because you see this behavior and you see it could possibly manifest one day into it hurting somebody. And the fact that Sean Rash and UFO Joe and all these guys at UAP Media UK encourage this shit by staying silent on it. That's why I called them out. Because they encourage this shit behind the scenes. And they talk to this behind the scenes. They think they're an army. They think they're super soldiers for truth. You're religious zealots at best. And then we did the John Ramirez interview, which we got a lot of shit for, which is crazy because he came back. He was so offended that he came back to the show. I'm sorry, but when a man comes on this show who worked for the CIA, tells us that he had a top secret meeting in a conference room at a Holiday Inn about alien hybrids injecting themselves into our gene pool, and that only a select percentage of humans are gifted enough or special enough to be part of this merging of species. Sounds fucking crazy, and we question the shit out of it, and we don't fucking regret 1 second of it. And if that's the bullshit you want to sign up for, then go to the other shows I named. They'll treat them with respect and kid gloves. A CIA spook. I love how people got more insulted than the guest. What a joke. What a joke. And here's the best part. It's one of the most popular episodes on the channel. It's over 150,000 views, something like that. There was a lot of fun information that came out of there. Maybe it was true, but I can't tell because we're having meetings at the Holiday Inn, top secret meetings at the Howard Johnson, at the free breakfast buffet that you get in the morning. Like, are you kidding me? Then came the question. The question that me and Rather had planned out to ask Lou Elizondo. I was playing nice cop. Rather was playing mean cop. I just love the idea of Rather being mean cop, the least intimidating person on the planet. Set him up for the question, and he answers the question about having sock puppet accounts. Now, anyone wants the file I have of every picture of every message that sock puppet account has ever sent, DM me and I'll send you the file. Some really nasty shit that sock puppet did to researchers and journalists, especially Keith Clore. Keith Clore is a good person, and he's a fucking great journalist. And all of the people that scream Monsanto, it's all bullshit. None of that stuff sticks. It's just a smear to easily throw on somebody that you don't agree with, followed by naysayer, hater, backstabber, traitor. There's a wake of bodies here behind Luis Elizondo. Michael Mataluni has done a 180 on this. John Greenwald, in a lot of ways, has done a 180, at least on what he thinks about this narrative coming from these guys. Stephen Greenstreet, again, how do you go from the most popular UFO show, the coolest, the best edited, better than anything that had been produced on the topic, period, full stop, and every single one of you out there ate it up and loved every single episode of it. Why? Because it fed your belief, fed his belief. And also there was an aura of legitimacy to it. And then something happened to him. Literally overnight. Now, I think he's doing the most important work. He's hit a stride, and I love watching it. He is the cold bucket of water that you religious zealots need to really, really, really step back from this emotionally and put your belief system to the side and just look at this. It's staring you right in the face. This is not alien. There's no crash retrieval team. Nothing has ever been dissected. There are no otherworldly materials. Humans are really smart. Really, really smart. It's staring you guys right in the face. And here's the kicker. They're actually telling you that's what it is in a lot of very subtle ways. And those are the things I'm going to start highlighting. Something's not right. And when you go to Jeremy McGowan, who a year ago people were calling a psychopath, myself included, I had wondered what happened to Jeremy McGowan. And keep in mind, Jeremy spent 5 days with these guys, back to back, slept in the same area, bonded over war stories and family. And he comes out of that experience, have done a 180 and screw at the top of his lungs. We just wrote him off because we had so much respect and adoration for the people who told us to. I know some of the things he's released may not have been the right way. and they rub me the wrong way sometimes how it was done. But now sitting here where I'm sitting, I get it. I get why he did what he did. And he was somebody else I also had to apologize to. And I told him that I would try and fix this because I feel embarrassed and stupid that I contributed to this madness. This didn't happen in a week, you guys. The Big Phone Home 3 was just the last straw. It was the measuring stick for me. I knew it wasn't going to be as successful. And I didn't ask anybody from the UK to help me because it was like pulling teeth with them the last time for Big Phone Home 2, for them to help me with almost anything. The only two people that really genuinely I felt like were trying to help are Danny Zetterstrom and Chris Sharp. Outside of that, nothing. You're never going to find another channel that is devoted as much time and organization and grassroots as mine. People can bitch and complain all they want. I've got the receipts. 396 shows worth over a year worth of receipts and shows. 4 streams for the Big Phone Homes. Just in live streams. Have been as patient and I have been as forgiving. I have been willing to accept the olive branch and also be stabbed by it. And Sean Rash came on my show and publicly apologized. A week later, he was doing the exact same thing. I've extended privately, except for after the second time. After you stab me in the back twice, I'll never trust you again. And so if my responses have been harsh to you, Sean, it's because I don't trust you. You're untrustworthy. And I know that your friend, who's a DC lobbyist, former DC lobbyist, and has friends in Washington, D.C., who she's trying to help move the topic forward with, I'd love to know who these friends are. Since when do we start trusting lobbyists? And what did you lobby for? Somebody else could ask those questions. I'm done. I don't need to ask any more questions. I see what's going on here. Then we've got Zach Seichi. It's probably one of the best interviews ever conducted with Lou Elizondo was with Zach Seichi. And the questions were really sharp and to the bone. And my favorite go-to when recommending, hey, you should listen to this guy talk about UFOs. Weird how he never did Zach Seichi's show ever again after those questions that Zach asked that he really didn't even get answers on. Keith Clore, I've already mentioned him, a legitimate scientific journalist who's written in a lot of different places on a lot of different topics and is simply just trying to get people to look reasonably at what people are saying and doing and pushing. He gets attacked. This last one's even probably the most interesting. And I have a feeling somebody can answer this because they used to be team members with him. Where's Max Moscovich? Remember him? Remember, he was probably the most pro Lou Elizondo advocate out there. He was a guy who, for some reason, always got the best quote from Lou. Where is he? Where did he go? And now me. I don't know how else I could say this. I don't know how I could articulate, and I don't think there is. I don't think there's any way, no matter in which order I put it or how I present it, if you think I'm a backstabber, if you think I'm a traitor, I don't know if there's any saving you. I want to show you guys something. And I'm going to tell you to pay attention to what I'm going to show you here. This is a thank you letter, a thank you note to Skyfort that was penned by Sean Cahill. And there's a list here of people he thanks. The late Senator Harry Reid. Seems like an obvious one, even though he wasn't read in on the ATID program. That's fine. Luis Elizondo. Well, that one seems pretty obvious, right? Christopher Mellon. Okay. Oh, here we go. Dr. Gary Nolan. Cool. He seems to be very pro this, even loves to fill in the gaps of data because he's smart enough, and only a select people are smart enough to fill in those gaps and come to conclusions. Filmmaker Dean Alioto, who's actually has been very, very friendly to the show. He was on not too long ago. We reviewed Predator. He's working on a film. I'll be interested to see where he's at in a year. George Knapp. How could you not thank the king of UFOs, the godfather, the person everyone must kiss the ring of? You must kiss the ring of George Knapp if you want to get anywhere in this business, kid. So many inaccuracies in his reporting, it's flabbergasting. And the way we walk on eggshells around his stories is mind-boggling to me. I've been wanting to say that for a long time. That we believe the books he's written, werewolves in trench coats, smoking cigarettes. Wake up. This is a fucking fantasy. Here's what the names get interesting. These next two names. Craig Labadie. I don't know who that is. I don't know who Craig Labadie is. When I looked him up, and I mean, his name is here, it's public, so I'm not doxing anybody. Excuse me. Didn't mean to do that on the mic. But when I look him up, seems like they run a acupuncture place in Buffalo. It's not hard to find. Just Google the name. And when you get the link from his Instagram account, he's friends with the people in Skyfort. So it's definitely him. It's not hard to find. Public information. Sean Munger, Esquire. A lot of people might go, oh, is that? This is the one I'm really a little worried about. I can tell you this, and listen to what I'm telling you. As far as Twitter is concerned, he's got his eye on you. This is one of the people who gave me a wellness call, and haven't heard from them in 9 months. All of a sudden, they're checking on me right before last week's show, making sure everything's okay. And why am I angry? Why are you going to destroy the channel, man? It's doing great. It's making plenty of money. Give me all the reasons to calm down. And then when I asked if he extended this courtesy of a wellness check to his associate and friend, Mr. Luis Elizondo, for retweeting racist lawyers to softly threaten researchers with litigation, did you call Luis Elizondo and do a wellness check on him for retweeting that person twice? Did you do a wellness check on Luis Elizondo when he admitted to sock puppet accounts or released our text messages through what I think is his wife and pointed to the dumbest part of the conversation as a mistake that is worthy of the label of traitor? I got the comma in the wrong place. There's still 10 people there. Did you do a wellness check for him on those things? Crickets. Crickets. I'm not going to tell you what this person does for a living or where they work, but he's on this thank you list. So he's public, and I want you to be aware that that's a name people should look into. Danny Zetterstrom, of course, right? Why wouldn't you want him on this list? He's been a great asset. Graeme Rendell, who's written 2 books that have forwards written by Sean Cahill. I like Graeme. I like Danny. I really love Christopher Sharp. But I feel bad for Christopher Sharp. And here's why. There's no respected journalist out there that agrees with anything you put out in your Liberation Times blog. Not one. You're being used, my friend. And the part that makes me sad is Christopher Sharp is a really beautiful human. He's a really good dad. He's a really, really good dad and a great husband and a beautiful soul. Like him and, like I said, Dan Zetterstrom, like these guys really tried in all good faith help. But I think the information you're putting in that Liberation Times, the places you're getting it from, you look like a fool. I'm sorry. And I'm going to show how I think you've been manipulated by people. Because there was a whole tour, a whole tour of you, Chris, on all these different shows, this coming out party of Liberation Times, stamped and approved by Sean Cahill, Adam Goldsack, UAP Media UK Adam Goldsack, the one who called me a overweight failed comedian, I believe, or something in that effect. Really nasty shit. I can't remember if it was him or J. Christopher King that yelled at blue collar workers trying to maintain an artistic dream. But either way, both of them deleted their tweets. Both of them deleted their tweets attacking me. But, you know, they're not anybody's colleagues, right? Vinny Adams, disclosure team, somebody who was really, really supportive of the first Big Phone Home and got really pissed off at me after our John Ramirez interview. him and Sean. They really got hurt. They got more offended than John Ramirez. Fucking ridiculous. And again, where's Max Moscovich? Last I saw, he was in Italy meeting with Lou and disappeared. And when I say disappeared, I mean he's not missing. He's alive. But there's a reason why he went completely quiet. Andy McGrillen, That UFO Podcast, host of the biggest podcast on the planet. One of the biggest paranormal podcasts on the planet. I think that's fair to say. And you've earned it. To be clear, you do a great show. A really great show. My concern is that you're positioning yourself to be the next Coast to Coast AM, whether you realize it or not, or if you have that intention or not. But in my opinion, Coast to Coast AM is exactly the problem with this entire community. Coast to Coast AM doesn't challenge any of their guests, and they'll have anyone on, no matter what they say. Don't want to appear to be rude like we have by asking very simple follow-up questions to crazy shit that is said on these shows. Because you know, the second you start doing what we do, those numbers financially start going down. This is not an easy path to talk like I'm talking. And again, bare minimum that show makes is $80,000 a year. Why is Dan Zetterstrom crowdsourcing plane tickets and hotel room fees for a film that is going to be providing content for your show? If I was making 80 grand a year, I would have paid for those plane tickets and those hotel fees in Colombia. Rather went to the SCU conference and I paid for the plane tickets. I wish I could have paid for other things, but I can't. It's very simple to prove me wrong on this. If my numbers are wrong, if you want to make the last 2 weeks of my show absolutely irrelevant, show us the numbers. If it's way less than what I say, even if it's $1 less, I'm wrong. It's not about the money. It really isn't. But it's about what that money might do to your compass to ask the right questions. This is not a jealousy thing. So many other things I'm going to be doing when this show ends today. I start a new job next week. Got a lot of golf to go play and catch up on. Probably terrible again. I asked Rather and to Jane to sit out this show. They might join me at the end just to say goodbye to everybody. But I asked them to sit out because I don't want them any of this projected on them. It's not fair. See who else is on this list. Dave Partridge, Shadows of Your Mind magazine, which has recently ended. Not very supportive after first Big Phone Home. We started off really, really well. He was so helpful, especially when I accidentally named MJ Banias as part of the Big Phone Home 1, and he never agreed to it. And he was so helpful to help change that cartoon. And that was just a funny moment when I think back on it. But it's just funny, leading up to a few months, both him and Dave Partridge and Graeme were supposed to be on the show. And they had a 3-month warning I gave them for the show. We booked 3 months out, a long time out. And I would give them friendly reminders in the week of the show, literally 2 days or something like that before the show. I was like, hey, just sending you the link. Remember, this is the time, blah, blah. Dave hits me back with, sorry, mate, I got to pick somebody up at the bus station. Okay. Life happens, but I mean, you've known about this for 3 months. That's cool. Little things like that. It's fine. Dave Scott. It's funny how a lot of people left his show because they were anti-Lou and he just couldn't have it. And now he's gotten himself a little bit of trouble with Science Bob and the meeting that they were supposed to have with Skyfort. Here's my take on that. Here's my guess is they had people lined up to have a meeting in Canada. Everything was going well. Discussions were being had. And right before the meeting, Skyfort pulls out with everybody who's supposed to be there. And these guys are standing there holding their schlingy schlongs. Sounds familiar. It really does. Daniel Otis, not a bad thing to say about this guy. He's on the show many times, helped us with the Canadian aspect of the UAP discussion. I think he does good work. So nothing there. I have no clue who Dave Rossi is. This is one I have no clue. But again, I recommend paying attention to this list. Thomas Fessler. If there's one person on the planet that does not deserve to be on a list like this guy is the bottom of the barrel. I don't know how this guy ended up on this list. It's flabbergasting to me. I mean, I know how. He's a bootlicker. And I'll just leave it at he's a bootlicker. And if you really want to see who he is, I did a little supercut of him a few months back. And boy, he weaseled every possible way and every excuse to explain the words that come out of his mouth in that little supercut. The absolute worst. It's like Thomas Fessler, Goof On, and UAP Mike, and Chris Wolford. Like, those are the four horsemen of just like, brah, terrible. And then here's Rob Heatherly, the guy who likes to leak and receive personal messages. A veteran that refuses to ask any hard questions. Another bootlicker. And of course, thanking various bipartisan congressional staffers, members of Congress, the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies, and the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, which is the most shit-run organization I've ever seen. And they sell all of the information to the government, which is just awesome. Here's a couple bullet points. Lastly, a special thanks to all of those following UFO Twitter. This is a thank you for an explosion of grassroots citizen science, data collection, and analysis. If this is a thank you for that, not to toot my own horn, but we should be on this list. We're not, because Sean Cahill can't get out of the way of his own ego. A change in tone from primetime infotainment reducing stigma. He's got a real thorn in his side about people making this conversation entertaining. It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. It's so stupid. And I'm going to be going through every interview you've ever done and finding every time you say this stupid shit. It's so stupid. And you guys, especially in the UK, are just holding their pockets and following along. Everything I said on Thursday, I meant every word of it. I don't take back one thing. Another person of interest that I would be very wary of their work, especially, is Marieke von Stoppenjerk, von Stoppenschlop, von Stoppenfang from The Hill. Nobody can find out what the hell that guy does, and he's ex-military and works at Stanford. And he doesn't call himself a journalist, even though he's inferring every time he does a Hill interview or article that he feels and looks and sounds like a journalist. Calling me on the phone, asking me begging me to ask Mick West to put in the data points that he wants seen in Mick West Simulator, as if that's going to answer any important questions on the gimbal video. There's missing data. And he promised me he was going to write an article about the missing data and demand it. And he kind of did. But why not put a link to the petition we wrote? Or there was another petition floating around yesterday from UAP Media UK that copied my petition. Use that one. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. It's good yesterday, but it wasn't good last Thursday or last Friday or the Friday before that. Whenever the hell we did this. I mean, honestly, these last 2 weeks have melted into one. Be careful of his work. It's not trying to help in any genuine way. Jesse Springer and Jake Mann, who are part of Skyfort, are also not here to help in any substantive way. I love how they all pat themselves on the back for Skyfort. What did you guys do? Tell me what you accomplished, even behind the scenes, because from what I was told about Skyfort is we're gonna get Neil deGrasse Tyson, we're gonna get Michio Kaku and all of the leading voices in science to come and talk about this. That never happened. Senator Gillibrand, this question's for you. For the people out there like me who have in some cases refused work to cover this topic, have missed out on family time to cover this topic when things happen, who has devoted hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours toward public disclosure and grassroots efforts to contact people like you and get more clarity and data on this discussion. My question for you, Senator, is what do you say to people like me who are devoting this much time to this discussion? Am someone like me going to be satisfied with the data that comes out of this office, this, quote, state-of-the-art office that is being built as we speak? Usually when state-of-the-art is thrown around with the Department of Defense, the budget starts with a B. What do you say to people in a community that have a propensity, again, to believe things like Pizzagate, in a community that does have a lot of mental illness? What are you saying to them? What are they going to get? Are they going to be satisfied with the answers that the Aero office provides? Somebody needs to ask a senator that question. Because I believe no one is going to get what they want out of this discussion within the UFO Twitter community. You're not going to get bodies. You're not going to get a crash retrieval program. You're not going to get metamaterials. You're not going to get a dissected body with video. There's been no reverse engineering of this stuff. As far as I'm concerned, it's our tech. It's us. And this slow drip that Lou Elizondo just said in his last interview, because I've been watching a lot of interviews again with the Cabby team. In his last interview, he said that this is still going to be another 5 years. Which is fine. If we're going to get the answer that everybody wants to hear. But you're not going to get that answer. This is a slow drip of a huge break in physics, in my personal opinion. Can't prove this, and I'm not going to sit here and try to prove it. But after the manipulation, the blackmail, the wellness checks from people, in some cases I've never heard from, the lobes of traitor being lobbed viciously by bots in my live chat, this shit ain't fun anymore. And for what? I'm a YouTuber with 13,000 subs, which pretty soon I think we'll be under 13. I think we've lost about 150 subs so far, and I'm sure this is not gonna win us anymore. And I don't care. Don't give a shit. This is not about me and the channel. This is not my life. And I'm making the decision to completely remove myself from this. Because as far as I'm concerned, I've helped add to the madness that feeds the crazy people I named. Or what feel like crazy people. They're scary. The way they speak to people. The way they threaten people. How many steps are we away before somebody gets hurt? If you want to know why am I leaving, that's why. This show is not worth that. It sucks. I mean, I bought a camera. I didn't even buy it. My family helped me buy it. Because I made 22 grand last year. I bought a drone in hopes of making a short film for you guys about my experience. And that's another thing. I'm more apt to believe, and this is just math, you guys, for all of you scientific people out there in the discussion. This is just simple math. The mathematical odds that what I saw when I was 13 years old, along with a whole bunch of other people, the mathematical odds is that was a rare weather phenomenon or a plasma ball or something just very rarely seen. The math is better that it was that than an alien spaceship. And I can't trust a 27-year-old memory as science or proof of anything. And I recommend to you guys out there in the experiencer groups, in the hypnotist sessions, be careful. You're being taken advantage of. If you find yourself in a 12-hour Twitter space, that's not an open discussion of free thought and good ideas. That's a Bible study class where the pastor the next day comes and sells you the new wares based off of the discussion the day before. You're in a cult. And I was in a cult. And that sucks to say out loud. That's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. I've wasted my time these last 2 years. And that's a hard pill to swallow. Just love how all of these people call me drama and how much they hate drama. But look at you all here. It's almost 500 of you here. You love this shit. You live for it. This is exactly what you need between the drips of terrible information. It's a drug for you guys. And I'm pulling the needle out. And I have a lot of guilt because I feel like I've added to a lot of this, what I see as a mess now. I see a legislative blank check for a brand new branch of the military that's budget is going to start with a T, not a B. The Space Force is going to cost trillions. How do you convince the American people to spend that kind of money? Give them UFO. And at the same time, give your enemies intelligence that tells them that ain't alien, boys. That's us. We haven't had a moment, the United States, in 70 plus years that establishes our world dominance. Whatever this tech is the brand new version of that. Except nobody has to die. It's just going to be presented in a big UFO smokescreen, like it was in the 40s. I'm such an idiot. I feel so stupid. Good news is America's safe for the next 1,000 years, I think. And say my theory is right. Just say for a second it is. That means Lozano is actually a hero because he was the public punching bag for helping usher in the greatest tech that maybe we'll see in our lifetimes. Feels like I was just a casualty of that. And maybe I'm way off because I can't prove any of that. It's just my gut feeling. What I do know is that the intentions of this narrative are not going to fulfill any answers that you're seeking. None. Sean Rash, you're not going to get any answers from this. And what you experienced and what you saw. Raz, I see your question. What about Stephen Greer and Linda Moulton House? Stay the fuck away. The worst. can't believe we treat Linda Moulton Howe with the kid gloves that we do. So insulting to science and good research. I mean, if my question during that Kurt Mungle interview with Linda Moulton Howe, my question was the question that she melted down on. It was the simplest, dumbest question that could easily been answered. But she took it so personally. And she was so hurt by the question of, have you ever made a mistake that you had to correct? Once, ever? That's the question she lived on. Wake up. This has been a really frustrating week. And I wanted to continue. There was nothing more I wanted than to burn this entire community to the ground. Because I've been watching all of you. All of you. I watch all of you. And I've seen you all pile on. You've taken the opportunity to show how you really feel about me and about the show. That's fine. I know how to edit. And trust me when I tell you, some of you are not going to be thrilled with what I do in the next year. I don't know what else to say. I don't know how else I can warn you. I don't know how loud I need to scream. I don't know how many bodies you need in the wake of this madness. I don't know how many people you guys need to see turn on a dime before you realize something is not right. Let me answer some of these questions. And I know Jane and Rather, we're going to come in here towards the end of the show, and they're more than welcome to come in at this point. If you guys want to come in, you guys got the link. I'm going to try and find I'm sorry, guys, I haven't marked any of these super chats. So I'm going to try and find every single one I can and see if we can answer your questions. Thank you for the donations. And again, like if you are a brand new YouTube member, if you are a brand new Patreon or an old Patreon member, those things will be open. You're more than welcome to stay a member because there will be more content eventually coming, but a long break needs to be had from me, especially from me. So I ask you to be patient. But damn, Jesus, Aaron, $500. Thank you, man. This is either incentive to keep going without paying attention to the drama, or it's money for the show's wake. You're taking yourself too seriously now. Let's lighten it up. I wish I could. At this point, seeing what I've seen and experience what I've experienced, I can't just lighten up, man. I just can't. It's the only way I could describe this and explain it is very similar to Rowdy Rowd Piper finding the box of glasses and They Live. I can't unsee it now. And I'm addicted to the glasses. And these last two shows have been the brutal street fight that was in that film of me trying to get you guys to simply put them on. Put them on. It's up to you guys. At this point, I don't know what else to do. And Bryant with a $20 super sticker. Thank you so much for the donation. I see you in the back there, Rather. Let me just get through some of these chats here because I want to respect these guys who put a lot of money in here. Thank you. George, $100 donation. Thank you so much. Always loved you guys. Seemed like you always kept it real and had a healthy amount of skepticism in your interviews, which I appreciated. I'll be following along with whatever you do in the future. Thank you so much, George. Truly appreciate it. Let's see who else we got here. There's a lot of chats, you guys. Thank you all of you. I see you, Alien Girl, Josh and Artemis, Truth Searcher, Tina Tomaszewski. Thank you for being here. Sean Francois Chalabois with just a donation. Thank you so much. Been here from pretty much the start. Appreciate the support. Bricktop Crusher. Now that I become deaf, Gonzo, all you guys, Eric, Blank. I see all you guys. Grant LeBach, sweet and beautiful Grant LeBach. Love you, bud. Always have, always will. Thank you for everything you've done for UCR, this community, and the Big Phone Home. Thank you for being not only a good person, a genuine friend, and someone who does a really wonderful job at putting your personal belief systems out of the things you support. If you guys want to follow somebody who's doing this activism part with all of the right intentions, follow Grant LeBach. And the Big Phone Home website stays up. That will always be there as a tool for you guys for as long as I can keep it up. Use it whenever you want. Thank you, Grant. Alien Girl with a super sticker of $2. Thank you so much, my lady. I really appreciate it. Another just really great supporter of the show and just a nice person. Don't agree with everything she says, that's for sure. But she's at least respectful and she tries, which is a lot more, I can say, than a lot of other people in this community. I'll bring you guys in a second. I'm just trying to get through these last couple donations here, and then we'll bring you guys in. And we might go overtime with the show, depending on what happens, or we'll end it right at 7. Mostly space, $5 donation. Just want to help keep your sense of wonder alive. Some UAPs are definitely secret tech, but objects doing 20,000 miles per hour in the 40s is something else. Maybe. And even if it is real tech, let's say there is a there. Let's just say there is. You're not going to, our United States military's never caught one. And you bet your ass it's never crashed. Ever. Ever. So maybe there is something out there that inspires human ingenuity to do something like 20,000 mile per hour right-hand turns. I'm not going to put it out of the realm of possibility. DeVos, $10 donation. Give him hell, bro. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. $5 donation from ex-Cali Purple. Ramirez never said the conference was secret. At least get your details right. I know he didn't. Or did he? I don't know. We'll bring in Rather. He's here. I feel like he did. I feel like he did say it was a top secret meeting. You know what? On that note, let's bring in Rather. Let's bring in Rather and Jane. Do you remember Rather?
It wasn't secret. He had academics. You just had to sign in a sign-in sheet.
But they were talking about top secret with things that would have been top secret or should have been.
You would think, right? You would think that the alien hybrids would be a little bit confidential, but
you would think. But yeah, people took a real disliking to those questions. again, I'm more disliking than the actual guest did, which is always fascinating to me. But you guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the show and sort of dealing with me here this last week. I know it's been crazy and I've been all over the place.
Yeah, I mean,
I appreciate you guys.
Sucks to see the pain that this issue has caused you, and all the craziness and the ridiculousness of everything you went through in the last year or 2 years, and I just want to say thanks, Lou, for starting this show and having the space for me and Jane to ask those questions and engage the issue, bringing in awesome guests. It was a fun ride, and I really appreciate you. It's great to getting to know you, Lou, and you, Jane, and I consider you guys both good friends, and I hope that we stay in touch and see how this issue goes.
Not going anywhere. I'm not disappearing. The people that I trust, I'll be communicating with, and the people I don't trust, I won't be communicating with. So I'm sure you'll find out. Oh, it's been a fun ride. For the last person, sorry, I forgot to read your name before I went to this next topic or comment. But thank you for the donation. Bricktop Lou, have you ever considered that you're half right? My issue is there's a lot of history here. Sure, but that history has gotten us nowhere. Like, it hasn't gotten us closer to any answers. And when you ask people like Avi Loeb, they don't want information that's 70 years old. 70-year-old information is very difficult to corroborate today. We need better data, and we know that there's better data, so ask for it. I just don't know why we have to go back 70 years. It seems like a moot point.
Well, if you want to go back 70 years, I have a video of 1800s UFOs. You guys could go. I like to go as far back as you could go.
Yeah.
So just saying.
Bradley Johnson with a $5 donation. Thank you. Leah, the $5 donation. Lou, thanks for taking a chance on Invisible Night School. Love you, brother. No problem. That was an easy chance to take there. The Fenton Spectrum. Well said. Bravery was requested. Thank you so much. Bradley Johansson, $5. Thank you. Joe with a $5 donation. Thank you. Spooky. The Toddy Waba crew will miss you. I will miss you guys as well. And I think, oh, wait, here we go. Matt Monroe, $50 donation. Cheer up, bro. Thank you so much, Matt. That's amazing. Tommy McAllister, love the show. Love you. Swink McLeod. Louise, take the show wherever you want to, but no, most of us have been critically thinking. You have 13,000 subs. You've been affected by the minority who don't critically think and other a-holes in the community. Maybe. But my fear is that those really fringe, very extreme elements of that community has a capability of doing some real damage. And they've shown that in some ways, or at least made me think that they're capable of that. So that's why I'm getting out.
Can I just say, because I don't feel like the last few years were wasted at all. I like meeting you and Rather and just developing these friendships further online has been a big deal. There's so many highlights. I was excited for Big Fun Hum 4. I hope people carry on the torch. I think it could have been evolved with like this new awakening. I believe in the community. I mean, it was so fun getting Avi Loeb to explain basically gravity to me. Like that was, like a huge highlight. Getting Brandon Fugel to talk about Moonshadow Ranch, which was just like this big rumor, for a while. It was really fun. Always going back and forth with Christina on Skinwalker Ranch because we have such wildly different perspectives. And I think it's been a beautiful thing. I will not miss my conversations with King Milkfart. He's muted right now. I was never part of that kind of drama really before.
That's the King Milkfarts out there are the reason I'm quitting.
Yeah,
and I think the King Milk farts are the reason a lot of people get out of it.
I get it, but I do want to remind people, and I know I've said it before, but I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm not going anywhere. But to what Lou is talking about, and I can't speak to all those specifics at all. I don't know them. But I did start out anonymously in this world because I knew I was covering a cover up. So at no really point during any of this have I guess, I don't know, really desired to be too trusting of those prominent voices. And I've tried to separate the people from the evidence, from the narrative. But I'm not going anywhere. I think King Milk Bar, he can't make me go anywhere. Rather's going to come on next week. Lou, at Thursday, if you change your mind, obviously, we'd love to talk to you. I think we're going to talk about James Webb Telescope. So I'm still into it. I am not an unbeliever yet. I definitely have become increasingly skeptical over the years, especially about the leaked evidence being rogue tech. Like I said, those 1800s airships, I think were mainly human invention, but I still think there could be more to it. So, if you're still in the game, I think Rather still in the game. I'm still here. I hope that Lou, you will, after you take this break, I know it will. I know it's going to evolve into something magical. I believe in this community. Also, I'm going to be at a conference in Jefferson, Texas, UFOCon. I have my little notes here, November 18th.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to come out and say hi, I'd love to continue talking to you guys. It's been really fun just getting, meeting people in the chat, seeing new names that I hadn't seen before. But I've really enjoyed this show. This is definitely not my choice to end it. I would have, been happy to keep going. And I'm just grateful that you brought me along for the experience. And I won't forget it. It definitely was not a waste of time at all for me.
Well, I appreciate that, Jane. Thank you for saying that. UAP, it's Aurora. Today's not the day. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. I know you've been here so many times. You've been here for a long time, so I appreciate the donation. Rest, recover your energy, and come back stronger. Your efforts are appreciated by many. American Road Warrior, don't quit. Move forward. Josh and Artemis, $7 donation. All of those feelings you described, shame, guilt, anger, are normal and will pass. Appreciate you speaking out tonight. Bricktop, not worried about Avi. Do you think it's all BS in U.S. tech, even stuff in the 40s or potentially hundreds of thousands of years ago? At this point, I know human beings are really creative. I know that the human brain is a very complex organ, very complex. And I'm starting to believe at this point we're either dealing with mental illness, crossing wires, mass hallucinations. There are a dozen things that could explain all of these historical events. There's no real concrete way to go back in time and be there or record it. And it's just, humans are super creative. For example, you read the comics from the the early 1900s, early 20s, early 30s, and the comic books of spaceships that land just like they land today. That was almost 100 years ahead of its time, those comic books, and the imagination of human beings and how now those comic books have manifested themselves into reality. I think that's what's going on here, you guys. My personal belief now. But then again, I clearly have a propensity to believe things, but here's what I know. There's not enough data. There's not enough proof, period. Full stop. And that's where I'm at. So thank you for the question, Bricktop. But yeah, I would seriously relook at this. Joe, $2 donation. I gave you 10 last time, but you thanked me for 5. Sorry. Student of the intellectual dark web. What happened between Lou and Tom DeLonge? That's another relationship that seems to have soured. He's the only guy from To the Stars that got fired, essentially. Chris Bales. Honestly, and candor goes a long way. Zondo definitely had at least one sock puppet account, and after you guys asked him about it, you got the cold shoulder from the insiders. Don't Paul Benowitz on us. It's funny you say Paul Benowitz, man, because in a lot of ways I have felt like Paul Benowitz. I even said that to Rather. Game Crusher or Crusher $5,007 donation. Gonna miss Rather's shiny forehead and his big D energy punching through the screen. That's hilarious. What do you think of that comment?
What about my big D energy? Don't I have some?
I'd agree with that. It was a fun show, and I'm gonna miss y'all.
Yeah, how are we gonna miss comments like that?
Bradley Johansson, respect to Lou for being true to yourself and your judgment. Thank you. I appreciate it. I can assure you guys, this was not an easy decision. I went back and forth. You could ask Rather. I was pissed. And there was nothing on my agenda except for rageful revenge. And it's still there in a lot of ways. But, when I called my brother and I tried to articulate the last year and a half of my life to him in an hour, I sounded like a crazy person. And it's not that he didn't believe me, but when he looked at me, he said, "You don't look happy." So I don't know what you're getting out of this, but I can tell you joy is definitely not one of them. And he was right. And I knew right then and there I had to quit the show because I'm not getting what I want out of this anymore. I'm too upset to look at it any other way now.
Yeah, just to add, I'm with Jane. I still think that there's a mystery here, but this mystery deserves and it needs, honest and open conversations, right? You need to be able to question things and questions the people who are telling you the info. And when it turns like this, where if you do question them, you get hordes of acolytes of people to defend anyone who might be their leaders. It's no fun, and it could potentially get dangerous. I commend Jane for coming out and not being anonymous. I still am using a pseudonym in part because the attacks and the people that are on the way believer side of the spectrum can be scary sometimes. I don't want them knowing who I am and where I work and where I live. There are some deranged people out there, and I can totally understand where you're coming from though.
I think that was probably my biggest mistake, is telling everybody my name, my real name, where I live and what I do. I never wanted this discussion to get here. I never wanted to be called a traitor and a backstabber. That's not where I thought this conversation was going to end up. But here we are.
I used to be the most skeptical one on the panel, and then I feel like we kind of flipped. We did trading spaces a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we're all on our own personal journey here, right?
Exactly.
We really are. And that's the whole point of the show, everybody's on their own personal thing. And the only time I would say if you're doing it wrong is, again, you find yourself, like me, in a lot of ways, missing out on real life to do this. If you're there, you're doing it wrong. Invisible Night School, thank you so much. Keep challenging your beliefs. Bottle Waba with $5 donation. Super chat for promoting Toddy Waba. Steve Long, I hope Lou sticks around and gives this topic a second go around. Wiser and more diligent and dedicated than ever. Lou and these hard lessons have much to offer. Well, here's the thing, you guys, just real quick. The channel's not going to go anywhere. I'm leaving this channel up with every episode up and available for free forever, because I want this to be a timeline of how someone goes from experiencer, believer, grassroots activist to a complete 180 of that. This timeline needs to stay. This episode is your warning. And I know we're running out of time here for the KGRDB show. So you guys want to continue this a little bit longer while we get the rest of these super chats here?
Yeah,
we can get through some super chats. Yeah.
All right. Swink McLeod, $10 donation. The show's been success just because my enjoyment of science from UCR has increased via you guys. Rather, Mataluni, Avi, Invisible Night School, Laurel Coons, etc. I appreciate that. And I've been getting a lot of messages like this too, Swink. You're not the only one. And that's honestly, this is the hardest part for me to walk away from, because I feel guilty having added to this madness. And now I feel an obligation in a lot of ways to help people to be that cold bucket of water, like Stephen Greenstreet is trying to be, like Keith Clore is trying to be, like John Greenwald's trying to be.
I don't think you have anything to be ashamed. I think that you probably, got more people to critically think by allowing,
maybe
open questions and asking questions.
Maybe, but I also think I got a lot of people to not think critically and not ask the right questions. That's where my guilt comes from. But like my brother said, I got to let go of that. I don't owe you guys anything. I don't owe anybody anything. I've given you my heart and my soul. I've given you guys all of me. And you put it through a grinder and you made sausages out of it. And now you eat the sausages. You guys enjoy the picnic. I'm at here. I don't owe you guys anything. But again, I mean, my new videos and my new direction will be making sure that I'm trying to undo the damage that I think I've done. And I got to tell you, this sucks. Steve Cambion, who I don't agree with every time. Not so much that I don't agree with him. It's just his style show. It's not, but it's not for everyone. Do you, baby? But I think I missed a lot of the really good information you were putting out, Stephen, because most of the times I had to take my headphones off because it was yelling. But Steve Cambion's been right on a lot of this stuff. And his question before my question on that Linda Moulton Howe interview, it's like he set her up, I knocked her down. And they were the simplest questions. And things I didn't even know that he brought up in that interview. He asks really good questions. And he's not as hateful or accusatory or misogynistic as Goof on. You have your moments. Can't be. If I was your producer, I would anytime you want to have a sit down conversation and you want help producing your show, if you want that, I'd be more than happy to sit down with you. But anyway, here's his comment. Welcome to the party, pal. Despite our differences, I support you. I'm here with you if you ever want to talk. I've been through this stuff for years. And he's right. And I understand why you guys are upset now. I think that the difference for me and why it took me a while is because a year ago, I don't think there was public information out there like there is today about Lou Elizondo. Is that fair, you guys? Am I crazy?
I think that's fair because I had been weary about voices like his, just because of the obvious counterintelligence background and the obvious legacy of the cover-up. But there was never any, as far as I know, any trail evidence like or any today. Yeah.
I just listened to a couple of Elizondo interviews from way back, and what struck me is he said several times about how we need to have honest, open discussions. We should even let the skeptics, even if we think they're wrong, we should hear them out and engage them and be respectful to them. And really that that's how the view I had of Elizondo. I thought, he is,
Right.
Bringing light to the issue, the hero that we all needed. And I mean, the turning point for me was realizing that he was, faceless bureaucrat, that sock puppet account, who was privately and semi-publicly doing the exact opposite of what he espoused publicly. And I think ever since he stopped using that sock puppet, Lou Elizondo publicly has kind of embraced that darker side of himself, the faceless bureaucrat side. And, they seem to be doing that kind of, egging on skeptics.
Like Richard Butt.
And they're doing it kind of openly too, Cahill and, all these people, Gary Nolan now, just, not having a respectful conversation, but just, piling on to skeptics and not being open to real legitimate questions.
Right. But also not answering for the crazy shit that's coming out of their mouths.
With that too, if anyone
like that clip that I
should feel bad about things that have been going on in this community, it's them.
Could we just for a second? I want to play that clip.
Here's how I think about it. I think it's sort of like an intelligence test.
Oh yeah.
It's rife for ridicule, but if you are sufficiently observant and smart, you can jump to the conclusion of what it is without having to have all of the data that proves it.
I'm all ears.
And so I can know that something is true without being able to draw a mathematical or geometric line between A to Z. And so I think that's part of what's going on here.
Whatever's going on here, stop it immediately.
Do you know what is in front of you and what you're seeing? And it draws you forward. I mean, it's very self-congratulatory, obviously.
Obviously.
Thinking that, we are the chosen, et cetera. And it's, it makes you similarly subject to ridicule. But I don't see it as that. I see it as people who are showing the way.
How about no?
It's a Stanford scientist. It's a Stanford scientist.
And what he's not saying there is that he knows this because, he has had personal experiences. You should mention that when you're doing a diatribe like that,
Right.
Skeptics like me or, people who are a little bit on the disbelief, we don't have those personal experiences. We need the evidence to be able to take this topic seriously.
Was that the context? Is that like what he said? Were there other part were there parts kind of cut out in the middle?
No. That's
Okay.
his whole comment.
If
I added something in there, it was a reaction.
That's what I'm
to
asking.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, nothing was flipped around. That's the order. That's the order in which things happen there. Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify that.
Like nothing here is taken out of context.
Here's what I'll say. It's so hard because I like the woo-woo a little bit, and it's fun to just talk how you feel, talk about like. I mean, Lou, like things you just know that maybe the community doesn't know, right? And you just put out there, right? And so I think he's just describing intuition or when you take in a bunch of information and then your brain's able to put a little summary on it and a bow tie of it, and it probably spits out some of the details that got you there, right?
Let him say that.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying, but that would probably be the way to say it instead of saying I just know things that
and you're stupid if you don't think the same thing.
Right, and then that's okay. Then that's one thing. Okay, that's also why you have to separate, and this is so important in the UFO community in science, and that's why we have science. That's why we have the scientific method, right? But that's so important in the UFO community. It's just you have your own intuition. You can trust it. You can empower other people to trust their intuition, but you do have to separate out things that you feel that from faith, intuition, personal experience, things that you're not able to show the data for, do the science experiments for. There is a separation. There's a line between those things, and that's just kind of how it is, and that's kind of how the universe works a little bit. So can't really try not to shoot me, the messenger of that, because I'm all about like there even being psychic knowledge and just like things that just kind of drop into our heads and downloads. And so
here's the problem, Jane. Hold on a second. Here's the thing is that we've got We've got decades of those kinds of comments.
Yeah. But yeah, you're not going to put that on a congressperson's desk.
Well, not even so much that. I don't need a Stanford professor to tell me that.
Well, it's just more it's more coast to coast AM, which I love. I'm always going to enjoy those shows.
With the coast to coast AMs,
aspect
of this thing, like I don't want a Stanford professor talking like that, Jane. I don't want a Stanford professor talking like that. And if he is going to talk like that, he needs to preface it with, "This is my belief," or "This is my experience that why I believe this. This is not science." And the way he's describing it there, it's like, you need to be, if you're smart enough, you're allowed to jump the conclusion.
Or this is new science or something.
No,
that's where I got, that's kind of where when we would do the Skinwalker Ranch review, or I don't know if we were doing the review after the big reveal of Travis Taylor and his background. But a lot of people got on my case, well, all of our cases, what I'm talking about, all of our cases, for wanting science from that show, wanting science from Travis Taylor, right? And that's the same similar kind of feeling I had, where it's like I didn't want him just throwing out these sensational ideas about UFO evidence, like interesting UFO evidence, lights in the sky. We should put it in the archives. It should be part of the evidence. We should make conclusions, but
yeah, I'm kind of over it. But back blast area with a $7 donation. We have all been watching a con job since 2017. Kind of there with you, buddy. Maddock 74, $5 donation. Hate to see UCR go. If there's anything the subject needs, it's free thinking people that just want the real truth, like you guys and Greenwald. Appreciate the donation. Thank you very much. Black blast area again. The great con job of 2017 is being exposed. Student of intellectual dark web. You got a new journey that will be more enlightening. I think so as well. But it's just not as fun. In a topic populated by shills, grifters, and spooks, you stand out, Lou, as a sincere and good person. I appreciate that comment, Eddie. Appreciate it very, very much. Thank you. Another $7 donation from, there we go, Black Blast area. We need this real disclosure of the cons exposure 2023. You're really on the cons. Bricktop, $5. Lou saying that weather phenomena and human misinterpretation is responsible for every UFO sighting is just unscientific as those as you mentioned. Maybe, but there's no science to prove any of these things. Show me the science, Brick. Isn't? Where's the science?
I mean, yeah, we need more data and more questions.
Right. Like, and it's just that's the problem with this discussion is for some reason this side of the discussion always has to give their belief. It's the belief is always the first thing that we have to put on the table before any of this stuff is actually viable. So many of us fell for the ATIP con. Let's shine a giant light on them and make them super famous. I mean, they're already famous enough. Anthony DeWinter guitar instruction. Well, if you guys need some guitar instruction, go check them out. $10. Thank you so much for the donation. I think that's everybody. If I missed your donation, you guys, I am insanely sorry. Oh, wait, here's one more. $5. Been watching since appearances on Open Minds. Gonna miss you. I'd like to say suck it up. Guess I did say it. Anyhow, whatever makes you happy, be safe. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Bricktop, I gotta go, but super confused. Denying one conspiracy requires another conspiracy. All of this is BS. Need more of an explanation for that. Hope we get it. Well, I don't think you are. Hope you do as well. I hope I'm wrong on this. Like, nobody wants to be more wrong on this. Trust me. Nobody wants to be more wrong on this, but that's everything, you guys. Go ahead, rather. Sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, you might be wrong on what you think that the phenomenon is and what, all these events are, but you're not wrong about how you've been treated by, Lou Elizondo, Richard Butt, and how they've been manipulating you and making, the community lash out at you. You're justified in how you're feeling.
And there's a reason I said yes to do this show, because I wouldn't have just said yes to anybody. I've said no to other people who wanted help with things. And it's also our, my mission, Glurp the Aliens mission. And please go subscribe to Rather and I and support us too. It's much appreciated. But our mission is to shed light on the phenomenon, and light means humor, it means positivity, and it means truth. It doesn't mean to try to convince people to believe that a specific race of gray aliens are visiting. Has never been the intention, and I believe that this show was seeking truth up until this episode, and I was am grateful to have been part of that journey. So, thank you.
Well, I
Me too.
appreciate
Well
it, Jane.
said, Jane.
Yeah, that's the show, you guys. I want to say thank you to everybody. Obviously, my two co-hosts here. You guys have been absolute rocks. The commitment that it took to do this show as many times as we did has been awe-inspiring, that you guys have stuck with it and have done it for free and do it because of the same reasons I wanted to do it. And so I can't thank you enough. I mean, all my thanks goes to you guys, and also Michael Mataluni, who really helps the show become what it is. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, thanks for putting the show on. It was great fun talking to you and Jane and Michael and all the guests. It was a blast.
Tommy Lito or Tommy Zito still on the line. Oh my god, that'd be great if he was. I want to say thank you to every single subscriber out there for being on this journey, taking it with us. It was a really fun ride for a long time until the last 5 months. It stopped being fun. It became something different, something that I want to separate myself from, and I'm sorry. I never wanted this to end like this, and like I said, we'll be continuing in our own ways, but that's not going to be for a little while. Want to say thank you to every single person that has ever donated $1 to this show. When Michelle got hurt, those super chats and those dollars helped me stay home with her for 4 months while she was in bed. And it was the most popular time of the show. And it was when the show helped me the most. The community helped me the most. And I will never forget that. That was some of the worst moments of my life. And this show was a welcome distraction every week from that. I want to say thank you to Bill, our producer, KGRADB. They took us on the show, and Martin Willis for putting our name in the hat to do this show. I felt really bad just leaving KGRADB hanging. That wasn't my intention. But I appreciate the platform and doing the show for those guys out there. So I appreciate that. I want to say thank you to Alex Garcia, who really helped us put together a lot of the visuals and the branding behind UCR and the show. So thank you for all of that help that you did with that. Want to say thank you. Want to say thank you to Lou Elizondo. Thank you. This was cool, but you're a scary dude. And want to thank everybody out there. I'm going to miss people, my mom, my sister, my girlfriend. Without her, this show would not have been possible. Without a doubt, you guys owe a lot to Michelle for doing this show. She's helped so much. And she's also seen everything that I'm talking about, or that I've laid out for you guys here in the last 2 episodes. Trying to think of who else I can thank. I mean, obviously all of the guests that have been on the show that have helped us grow this show, all the friends that we made, all the people who stabbed us in the back. Thank you. A lot of lessons were learned. Yeah, sucks. Never thought it would end this way. My recommendation, settle down. Don't jump on everybody so fast, especially when it disagrees with your belief system, because you guys are running out every single person that is trying to be on your side. What else? Am I missing anything, you guys?
I like settle down. For all your old people, what was that SNL skit? Was it an SNL skit? Settle down now. All of you. Settle down.
Well, that's it. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to say before we get out of here?
No, I mean, just Rather and I next week. we were already in Thursday mode, so we're gonna be on my channel next Thursday, talking UFO news. We'll see if we can stay believers or not in the mystery, or if we you never know. So. Yeah.
Rather, you got anything for the people before we get out of here?
Yeah, no, thanks for the ride. I'll still have my channel, Rather Be Squidding. Hope to do some more, science-focused stuff over there. And I'll be with Jane next week, Thursday. Have some extra time on Thursday evenings these days.
If Lou changes his mind, if you change your mind, you just suddenly...
Maybe you'll see me from time to time.
That'd be fun.
We'll see.
Yeah, that would be fun. I hope so.
All right, well, you guys, thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm sure we'll talk here in the next couple of days.
I hope so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't appreciate you guys enough. Honestly,
if not on the
work.
stream, yes, I hope that we stay in close touch. Yeah.
Indeed.
Here.
All right, I'm going to take you guys off screen. I'll see you backstage if you want to hang out there. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for coming aboard, getting weird with us here on the last episode of the Unidentified Celebrity Review, your former home for credible news, reviews, and commentary on everything UAPs and UFOs. Don't be mad at me, guys. Listen to what I'm saying. That's it. Have a wonderful weekend. I love you all. Peace.
People around here been dropping like flies already, and where's that getting us, huh? Nowhere. Fast. You know what old Jack Burton always says at a time like this? Who? Jack Burton. Me.
I believe you're enjoying all this.
Indeed, Captain. I've never seen him look so happy.
Shut up!
Well, what do you know? I finally got the last word.
Now, News 12 Sports with Pat Murphy.
Great news regarding Bills tight end Kevin Everett. He moved his arms and legs today. And doctors now believe that's the wrong video, by the way. That is not the right video.
I'm going to tell you all right now, all of these wonderful people would not be here without Patreon supporters like you. If you enjoy credible news, reviews, and commentary on UFOs and UAPs 5 days a week, you want to support this show. What's your name? Marty. Marty, look how easy this is, Marty. Pick up your phone. Boom! You're a Patreon member. I mean, look, it's so easy. You just click the link, which is right here. Just for $1 a month, you can support this show. Just fill out the information and pledge what's comfortable for you. It could be $1, $5, $10, or who knows. Just support.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.